because we've done this a lot this year. I actually have some other scenes, but just want to show you some of the other things and maybe show you ways that you can use them that you didn't think of. Sort of maybe a little bit of a training element in there somewhere. Okay, so as you know, most of you know what Vray is, and like people mostly use it just for the purpose of rendering, but it can actually help you in other stages of production. So in here we have this very low poly geometry. I also have this low resolution. Close this.
Jimmy's using a lower resolution, so he's hunting around. It's because he's shrunk it for the projector.
And obviously, if I just render it out, it will be a low polygonal object there. So the thing is that when you work with in a production, you usually try to keep your geometry very low polygonal, and then in the end you just subdivide it. And the problem there is that you get several million polygons in your scene, and you may have troubles navigating the scene, and you can also have troubles rendering all these polys because you need a lot of memory. And Vray can help you for both of those things. Basically, most of you know the Vray displacement modifier, I guess. You've been using it for displacement. But you can actually use it for other things as well. So I had it applied previously, and I'm just going to enable it. And you know that this has 3 different modes, and one of those modes is called subdivision. So what the subdivision mode does is, before actually making displacement, it subdivides the entire mesh. And I can take advantage of that, and by just giving it an amount of, I set the amount of to 0, here it is, so I don't get any displacement. What I'm doing is basically render time subdivisions from Vray. And first of all, I get the advantage of actually not having to have all the geometry in the viewport. And the second thing is that, you know, all displacement geometry and subdivided geometry is considered dynamic geometry by Vray, which means that the geometry is just generated for the current buckets that are being rendered. So you can actually save some memory during render time, and the rendering can go faster this way. And
what kind of, you've got a big laptop, the power supply is bigger than my desktop.
Yeah. This is a box machine. It has 8 cores with hyper-threading, 5 7s, 3.33 GHz. I think I have around 6 gigs of memory, and the GeForce for it. And I'm very happy. So just to give you a few tips about like memory efficiency and things like that, because this, as I told you, this geometry is generated on the fly for the current buckets. So if you want to save geometry, what you can do is actually decrease your bucket size. So this time you need less memory, and then you can specify whatever amount of memory you have free. You can specify here for the dynamic memory, so Vray works better this way. Okay, and just to give you a few tips how you can control the number of subdivisions, because right now we just saw the subdivided mesh. Here you have this maximum subdivision thing, which if I just set to 2 and render out, it will be obvious that the mesh is subdivided less time, it will be rougher.
Does it work in a very similar way to Turbo Smooth or Mesh, for example, the result?
Not entirely sure about if it's the similar way. What happens is the mesh is subdivided, but the difference between Turbo Smooth and this is because the fact that it's on the fly, you don't have the geometry.
So, but the rendered result, if you were to...
It would be pretty much the same. Okay, moving on. Yeah.
Does it keep the smoothing groups?
What do you mean the smoothing groups?
Yeah, if there in render poly you have smoothing groups, and so you can control the smoothing between polygons. Does it keep it?
No, I don't think this is going to do that. Everything will be subdivided separately. Okay, moving on. Here I have a very interesting example. It's just a plane, and it shows another feature of the displacement modifier that a few people out there know about. I'm not sure, maybe you guys have seen it before. So I have this plane. It's very simple, and I'm displacing it again with the displacement modifier. And let me show you the texture. It's this one. So basically, I'm using this texture to displace this plane. So what will happen, we'll get this effect of a fence. And the thing that I would really want to do here is get rid of the original plane. So I just want to create the fence. And I can do that by using some sort of opacity map or anything like that. But the thing with using opacity maps is that if you get too many, it kind of blocks the ray tracing, because it requires additional ray tracing power to go through those opacity maps. Let's call it this way. So what you can do instead, use this functionality called water level, which actually allows us to remove the geometry below a certain point in the displacement. So you can see my mount is set to 10 millimeters now. Yeah, and the water level is set to 0.01, so 1 millimeter. So I'm only going to have the geometry between 1 millimeter and 10 millimeters, and you see that. It basically saves me a little bit of modeling. Well, not a little bit, a lot of modeling. And the texture can be very easily created in Photoshop, for example, something like that. It will be easier to create the texture than to model this. And one other example.
The guys at the back, can you hear Jimmy okay?
No.
Okay. We stand up and shout, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do it stand up? Not really, no. We'll just shout. But
will
also, if you're at the back and you can't hear, there's not much I can do about it. I'm sorry. Perhaps not. Don't chat, because that would be cool.
Okay, here's another example. I just have two planes, displacement modifier, and this texture. It's basically, again, just a texture for the displacement. It looks like a fork. And once again, I have the water level. So just some values for displacement and the water level. And when I render out, you'll see the results. Again, the idea here is that instead of modeling, I'm just creating the geometry from displacement. Much faster and easier. And the cool thing is that it's not just a plane. If you take a look at it, it looks like there is some thickness there. So adding some small detail to your visualizations like this will be much easier. And again, you get the same memory efficiency from displacement.
How do you achieve the kind of thickness look using the map?
It's because the map goes from white to black gradually.
So you just make sure it's going from. All right.
Very good question.
Yeah.
Can you get an element out? Can you get elements out there? So an alpha, etc.
Sure. Let's remove the. It's basically geometry.
Yeah, so it's actually manipulating geometry.
Guys, listen. Sorry, Jimmy. Right, it is really, really busy tonight. I know that, and I'm sorry if you're stuck at the back and you can't hear or see. But that's the way it is tonight. It's not normally this busy. If you're stuck at the back and you can't see, I'm sorry, but don't stand there and talk, because it's going to make it difficult. So if you're going to stand here, please enjoy it, but no talking, because it's just not on. Guys here, there is more room here than there is there, so it would be really kind if you could, I've said it, this is the third time, I don't want to sound like a school teacher, but if you can shuffle up, that would be awesome for everyone else. And I think we should close the doors. Anyone else that's not here, that's your tough, really.
Pretty up against it.
There's still one seat here.
Yeah, there's a seat here right at the front.
I think the other scene is more visible here.
What's the normal age you told
Just want to show that there is actually alpha channel here, so it's real geometry, it's not any fake stuff there. Okay, do you guys know about the Vray proxy? What it's about? Do you use it?
Yeah.
Yes, no? Okay, I'm just
Loads.
Everybody does it. Okay. There's nothing special here. No. Well, just to, if you don't know how to optimize it, the same way you optimize the rendering of proxies, the same way you optimize the rendering of displaced geometries, you optimize proxies. So make if you're having troubles rendering it, make the button size smaller. Okay, then I'm just going to move on to this new thing here that we have. When we released Vray 2.0 for Max, sorry, you can guess what I was meant for that. We added Vray RT as the active shade for free, basically. So what I can do here is just check out the performance and show you one of the new shaders, because I'm pretty sure all of you know how to use the blend material, how to blend materials together, how to make those complex materials. And what I usually do at this point is just show the blend material, but I'm going to skip that because obviously the audience here is different. And what I can do is show you one of the new materials that we added, which is called the Vray car paint material. So just going to create a new one. And the car paint material is very straightforward, and if the resolution was bigger, you'd actually feel how useful the art is, because you can actually change things and see the result. But right now, this the material editor is adding the active shape. Okay, a few words about this material. I'm going to go very briefly. Again, you get the base material and you get the coat material, which is pretty straightforward. Like, I don't have to explain this to you. The interesting thing here is that we get this flakes layer, which creates these small metallic flakes, and you get a bunch of things to control it. It's basically it's a very complex map. Vray creates a bunch of different maps and blends them together, and different flakes will reflect from different points of view. But you get they're all reflective, so you can control their color, their glossiness. And the interesting thing here is that well, I should tell you is you can see they're pretty big. And the reason is because actually I don't have any UVWs for this car. So if you don't want to unwrap, you can just switch the flake typing to triplanar. And now that, in my case, what happens is that the flakes are too small now. So I can just scale them up. And what I should point out here is that so I'm asked why do we have flake scale and flake size. You have the size is the size of the flakes. The scale is scaling the whole shader, the flakes, and the distance between the flakes, right? And the other interesting here thing is the density. I'm guessing most of you deal with architecture, so I'm going to move on for it. Like, is it true, or do you do it?
Hands up if you're architecture based.
Oh yeah. I guess you don't care much about carpentry.
I'll agree on automotive.
It's very pretty.
You guys at the back, where are you guys from?
Well, work in Essex.
At Burrows?
No, I used to work at Burrows.
Okay.
Just gone off on my own now. And I've got with CAD data, but using the triplanar method, I've noticed that sometimes it can overload the memory when using CAD data, and you have to be very careful.
Because you have a lot of geometry there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that.
So you have to compress the map size as much as possible.
Okay, for all the architects, and I guess you have to sometimes render interior scenes with light cache. That's my guess. Sorry?
Just a question about using RT.
Yeah.
When using the GPU, HDRIs, you often get different lighting results.
Yeah, the GPU currently has a lot of limitations because basically it uses OpenCL, which is kind of new and not fully developed, and we're working on improving the RT on GPUs, but for the moment it has its limitations. It doesn't support all materials, and it doesn't support all of the settings of all materials, so it's it has some way to go still. Okay, so I have this scene. I'm just going to give you the setup because I don't want to navigate right now. On the other side of this thin wall, I have a spotlight. This object here is reflective and has glossy reflections. And I'm using the light cache, and I enable these options to use the light cache for glossy reflections, right? Glossy rays. And can you guess what kind of artifacts I'm going to get? We'll see here. Even in the readiness map, you can see that you get some nasty light leaks there, and everything will be splotched on the left because the light cache is not very precise. It's fast, but not precise. So basically, to fix those edges over there, what you'll have to do is sit down and start adjusting the sample size and the subdivisions of the light cache until you get it right. And it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes. So we find a way to fix this. If you go to the light cache, you'll see that we now have this retrace threshold checkbox and then a value, which basically tells Vray it's able to detect where those things are going to happen, and we say fix it, and we give it a radius. So what happens is while the light cache is being calculated, it detects those spots, stops the light cache, and then whatever primary engine we use for GI is going to take over. So